States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Alright, Alderman Ron Barnett. Here. Alderman Carl Schultz. Here. Alderman Dr. Zen Here. Alderman Annette Hager.
Here.
Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the consent agenda.
Make motion for approval of consent agenda.
Second. Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public forum, which nobody has signed up for that particular part because it's going back to what it used to be. This public forum here is for like the engineers and things that used to come down a long ways off and want to address the board. Then we got for the other people here down at the lake. Now, on the ordinance and things, when I read them, they're controversial. I'll ask the questions and I'll give people a chance to talk on them. But the other thing is down here by
Citizens participation.
somewhere in, okay, like, but that's what that, this up here, we had engineers and corporations and things, we send the people down and address the board. And that's what that public forum is for, to address it. Now, whenever I read 986, I know I got some people here, and I'm gonna give them a chance to speak on it. But then we'll still have a citizen participation for anything else down there that they want to talk about that within their code. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? That was put there years ago for that purpose. Because you had the engineers, and we were paying them to be here, and, you know, do things, and we got them to do, and got them out, and turned them back on. Okay. But no, still nobody signed up on it. We got some people who want to talk, I know that. Okay, bill number 976 has been modified. There's been a slight change in it. It don't change the intent except the date. So, I will call for the first reading again. After the first reading, which heading on for what you want, I'll ask for comment. Okay? Anybody want to make a motion for the first reading?
I'll make a motion for the first reading.
A second.
Roll call.
Alright, roll call for first reading of Bill 976 by title only.
Why not the whole thing?
Because we're, motion title on. We discuss the whole thing when time comes up. That don't make no difference. If you want a motion, that's up to you, it's not you. If you want a title on it, you can. If you want it to read the whole thing, it don't make me no difference. But it's your motion, which way you want it.
You mentioned that there's some changes
Yeah.
between that and
You
this.
got that in hand.
Right.
We discuss it, then we have a first reading. Where you want?
So we won't hear the changes?
Huh?
We won't get to hear the changes that are made while he reads the whole ordinance instead of just the title only?
We have the option to do it either way. I don't have a problem. I can't, if that's what they want to do, the board, we will. But not because you want it, it's what the board wants. I don't care, I'm fine with it, I'm fine with it.
I make a motion that we read the whole thing.
Well, we got to act on her motion, I mean, that's it. But she didn't make a motion either way, but we'll read the whole thing.
Sure.
Oh. David, it ain't very long. It's short and sweet. And I know the two that want the motion has read it, they got a copy of it, they took it home with them. I'm aware of that. Except for the change. There's only a couple of words different.
Alright.
Go ahead, David.
So reading it,
Did we vote on it?
uh,
Did you call roll call?
not yet, I've done nothing yet.
Go ahead and roll call.
Alright, roll call for first reading of Bill 976
Entirely.
entirely. Alright, Alderman Ron Barnett.
Yeah.
Alderman Carl Schultz.
Here.
Alderman Dr. Zen
Yes.
Alderman Annette Hager.
Yes.
Alright. Reading in full. All right, in order to make payment of city taxes a condition for receiving city utility services, therefore be it ordained by the Board of Aldermen of the city of St. Mary, Missouri as follows. Section 1, other conditions for obtaining and continuing utility service. No city utility services shall be provided to any user who has unpaid city taxes that are due and owing. City utility service to a user shall be terminated if the user has unpaid taxes that are due and owing in March of the following year. No lot or unit may receive city utility services if there are any unpaid city taxes assessed against the lot or unit that are due and owing. City utility service shall be terminated to lot or unit if there are any unpaid city taxes assessed against that lot or unit that are due and owing in March of the following year. Section 2, termination of utility services. Any or all city utility services may be disconnected after 2 days' notice to the user or unit owner for the following reasons. The user has unpaid city taxes that are due and owing. There are any unpaid city taxes assessed against that lot or unit that are due and owing. Section 3, severability. The provision of this ordinance shall be severable in the event that any provision of this ordinance is found by a court of competent jurisdiction to be unconstitutional. There are many provisions of this ordinance are valid unless the court finds the valid provisions of this ordinance are so essentially inseparable connected with and so dependent upon the valid provisions that it cannot be presumed that the Board of Aldermen would have enacted the valid provisions without the void ones, or unless the court finds that the valid provisions standing alone are incomplete and incapable of being executed in accordance with the legislative intent. Section 4, repeal of conflicting ordinances. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewithin are hereby repealed. Section 5, effective upon passage. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval by the Board of Aldermen. Section 6, incorporation into the municipal code. The city manager shall incorporate the terms of this ordinance into the official city of St. Mary City Code with all due dispatch. And then we pass on this day, we pass it, so that's it.
Okay. Anybody got any comments?
Yes. If utility services are turned off, is the citizen then required, obviously, to pay the back taxes, but reconnection
They
charges?
pay a reconnection charge.
So both.
Anytime the water gets turned off, you have to pay a reconnection charge.
What's the amount?
20.
Same dollar.
$20.
$20 to reconnect?
$20.
Anybody else got any comment?
I have a question. Is there any consideration given to hardship cases?
We will follow the law, any Missouri state law or any county law or anything, we will follow by it. We obey all of them, we're obligated to. Every case will be different, because they don't pay them don't necessarily mean hardship, just means they didn't. Some may be, but it's gotta be proven, they ain't gonna say it.
And,
Some of these here, they just because they ain't gonna pay, some of these $2, $3, $4, $5.
along those lines, is that justification for non-payment because of hardship, is that needs to be verbal or in writing? I think you should
It
probably.
would have to be proven to our satisfaction. We would have to see some kind of documents and things that, and then we would be able to use the knowledge in this small town of what we know about these individuals and what they do with the money and what they don't do. Everything will be under consideration. They are a hardship, but a lot of hardships are brought on by yourself. But then a lot of them they cannot help. And we might even get together and help them. But you get common sense used in that.
Yeah, is that hardship policy written anywhere? Or is that just?
No, but Missouri got laws, it's written in laws, that right now you can't hardly shut anybody off. But that's all gonna change pretty soon, but
Well, then, along those lines, if it hasn't changed, that means it's still in effect, and since it's a Missouri law, do we then have the authority
changes. We can't violate Missouri or federal laws knowingly, anytime.
So, because of that, then, aren't we more obligated to wait till the Missouri statute changes until we
No.
enact on it?
No, this is our statute, this is what we live by, and Missouri goes over it, then we have to go by today, they got a temporary federal. I don't know about Missouri, but they got a temporary federal on certain things. But that's got nothing to do with it, we can't enforce it in certain deals. But now, I don't know about taxes, that's the evasion, but taxes, they penalties for that too, for penalties and things, eventually we'll get it. But this we'll get it, as soon as they lift that restriction, we'll get it, or turn the water off.
I would like to see it written in the ordinance that we do abide by the Missouri.
Well, that don't have to be no, that is the law, we ain't got no option on that, you don't have an ordinance for that, that's the law, we have to do it. I'm not inclined to add it in here because we have to do it in here. Unless you can get a vote to do it, I'm against it. Because we have to in here. Okay? Anybody else? Call for second vote by heading on it. Call for reading the second by heading on it, title on it. Got a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, roll call. We still gotta do roll call.
Roll call for second reading of ordinance 976 by title only. Alderman Ron Barnett. Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduno. Alderman Ed Hacker.
Aye.
Second reading of ordinance 976, an ordinance to make payment of city taxes a condition for receiving city utility services.
Motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt.
We have public comment?
No, I'm through. You have comment, wanna go? You didn't speak.
We didn't.
You-
I have my hand up.
You're done now. I asked anybody else have anything to say. When we get down here to this other thing, you don't wanna talk no more.
You were looking at that,
I
I had my
asked
hand up.
anybody have any comment. Well, you should've hollered. You're out, buddy. Motion made, got a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call for passage of ordinance 976, Alderman Ron Barnett.
Aye.
Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduno.
Aye.
Alderman Ed Hacker.
Aye.
Motion passed, bill adopted.
I'll sign it tonight before I leave. Okay. That's all new business? All right, all business, I mean, I'm finished business. I'll get right in a minute. I ain't got my glasses on. I gotta put my glasses on one thing. Okay, going to new business. Bill number 977, stands the building demolition and everything, 977, let me get that out. Need a motion for the first reading? Title on it?
I might make a motion for the first reading. Title only.
I second.
Roll call.
Roll call for first reading of bill 977, Alderman Ron Barnett. Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduno.
I have a question.
Will you get a chance for questions?
Okay.
You can vote yes or no.
Aye.
So anything can change after this. I mean, it don't have to pass at first, but now then, I'm gonna open the floor for you guys to speak. And you think you wanna speak, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Well, 2 points, both, I don't know at what point to address either of these, but both Bill 977 and 978, who formulated these? Where did these come from? Who originated them?
Well, they've been on a while for a long time, they've been modified, ain't they?
Basically, what we did was, if a person wants to like work on a property, and have utilities turned on. We did not allow that previously, but now with this ordinance, you can have your water turned on so you can wash out paintbrushes or, use the vacuum if you're working or, so it allows them to have water, while they're renovating is the only real change I saw.
But what it means is, you can't go in there and cook and use your appliances and stay overnight because it's not safe in there.
Right.
You're allowed to go in there and do your construction work. And you have a restroom to use, and you have water to do the things you want. But you can't take appliances and things in there, because we don't know if the electric's been approved or what. That's why, until we inspect it, you can't live in it or nothing. And if you violate this, your water will be turned off. And you have to do the feed, turn back on and everything, and you won't get no more water till you get done.
Right.
To a tax inspection. We never really legally turned it on until you pass inspection, but it's a hardship on the people, like you working on your house and everything, and have to go up the hill to, so we listen to you whenever you was living there when supposed to.
Right.
But the problem, and you move back out,
Yes.
and we listened to what you said, and we agreed, you need your water on to work on your house.
Thank you.
But you have to follow the rule that's not living in it, and not going in there and setting up all kinds of appliances and things, and using electric like it's good.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay.
And could I make a motion that we table these? Because you all, when I asked where did this come from, between the two of you,
Who?
between the two of you, I guess, this was modified?
That ain't been modified at all.
Well,
It's been drawn up.
I would like to table it for discussion because there was an introduction in 978 that there were a couple things that I thought were.
We're not talking about non-safety, but right now, you're gonna have to realize there's rules to go by. Right now, there's motion been made and second for the reading on Bill 976, and that's the only thing you can discuss right now.
77. Okay.
And when you go against to the others, you can discuss it. But right now, the motion on 976 is on the floor. It's been voted on, and we can discuss it.
All right.
But all we can do is act on the motion. Now, you can make a motion to table it now, but I ain't sure about that. But I don't see, if you give me a good argument why 976 should be tabled, 7, whatever it is, 970.
Well, one reason.
It's been here, you were here last night, you could have had a copy of that for several days.
No, that's my point, or will be my point once I make it. On both of these, the methodology that we're using for these amendments and ordinances is that the aldermen get an email with the attachment to it, or, and this was not known to me in the beginning, these issues are in a packet for us to pick up, which I did. I was in the other day to pick it up. But this became an issue with the budget or the review of the budget. That was in our packet, which you cited, told me. So then I knew that I needed to come in advance. When I took office, no one told me that. I asked Dave, what are my obligations as an alderman? Is there a booklet or something like that? He just kind of tossed his hands up and no. I took it.
They look over new officers.
So I didn't see it and I asked for it.
Yeah,
Honestly,
they do elected officers and things like that. MML got books and things on different things and duties of the officers and everything.
Well, I ended up finding it myself, like this week I started to look stuff up and I printed them all up, because.
But my question with you is, Doc, every time I have an ordinance, you got questions, but when did you read this ordinance?
I picked it up the other day.
Well then, you hadn't called me to ask me any questions, or him, or anybody else about it.
Well,
You were here
because-
last night, I could discuss it with you.
Well, I feel the appropriate thing to do is when you draft an ordinance, in a meeting, whether it be closed or open, all of us sit at a table and discuss it, and then bring it up for a vote at the next meeting, that's all.
The main purpose of a board of meetings is conduct the business in hand. The alderman is supposed to have already, you got constituents and things, you can have your first reading, you can get out for the month. I give you a first reading of the other one the other day because it's controversial. This one here don't even pertain to most of the people here. Now, I don't see nothing controversial about it, it's common sense. And I don't see no, if you can get a second for motion, I'll let you, and get it passed, we'll table it. Anybody got a, he made a motion, anybody gonna second his motion to table it? Then your motion's denied.
All right, thank you.
Now we're going to, anybody on the floor got anything to say on it? Okay, motion for a second reading.
Hang on, we're still hung up on the roll call for the first.
Oh, we haven't called, okay, go
And
ahead.
then after, okay.
I'm sorry.
Roll call by title only of Bill 977, or first read. An ordinance pertaining to building demolition permits and designating when this ordinance takes effect.
Motion, vote to adopt now.
No,
No, roll call.
Just want to do it.
Roll call,
We
yes.
just- we
You
just-
ready? Roll call.
Motion for a second,
Yeah,
Eddie Owen.
I'm gonna write a word there.
I get a second for.
You got a second?
Thanks, sir.
All in favor, roll call.
Roll call for second reading of Bill 977. Alderman Ron Barnett. Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduno.
Aye.
Alderman Ed Haggard.
Aye.
Second reading of Bill 977. An ordinance pertaining to building demolition permits and designating when this ordinance takes effect.
This, I have a motion, I make a motion to table.
Yeah, we just denied while ago, so there's no reason to believe it ain't.
No, you denied one on demolition, this is a separate one?
This is 977, the same one we made the first reading.
I thought you were doing 78.
This is 977.
Okay, I apologize, I retract that.
And motion to adopt will be in order.
Make a motion to adopt bill number 977.
Motion made, second roll call.
Roll call for adoption of Bill 977. Alderman Ron Barnett. Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduno.
Aye.
Alderman Ed Haggard.
Aye.
Motion passed, 977, adopted.
Be down.
Yeah, but
I'm seeing 978, let me see what we got.
this part's unconstitutional. And like if someone, I mean, I can discuss the definitions of this one comes up.
Which one's the next?
It
978.
says personal hygiene. Technically, legally, you wash your hands after you take a leak, that's personal hygiene.
And
Also, if you do that,
Thanks for what?
then you're subject, you can go to jail for that. If you don't pay your fines for it, you could go to jail.
this is if you're not following.
Whatever, it's an overreach of authority to even suggest some of that. Also,
This is from Owen. Okay, Bill 978,
so that's the one I make a motion.
you want to make a motion for what we did reading? We got a second.
And I
Your motion to
Right.
read.
Table it.
No, he's
He
watching.
wanted to table it.
Yes.
Do you get a second?
And for the following reasons, so that they know what my questions are. that I
Who?
mentioned. The other aldermen.
Whenever, they've all read it, they know it, they're supposed to come here prepared to take care of this ordinance. That's what that's what the nice business is for. You're supposed to prepare and be ready for this and have your questions answered. Now, if you want a work session during the month to work on these aldermen, we can do that.
Then I,
And then whenever you come to the board meeting, you got the information. But when you come to this board meeting, and we got an ordinance, you're supposed to be educated on it, and the
I
board
am
is supposed to
educated
act.
on
The
it.
people out here have the right to question, because they don't understand it. But it's been printed that we're having that. If we have a work session or something, and the ordinance is thing,
the way this is presented did not give anyone an opportunity to discuss it as a board with our mayor there.
they discuss it right here.
This came,
I'm going to have a discussion here in a few
you're
minutes.
putting it up for
And then you
vote.
can vote for it. I I'm putting up for a first reading.
It should be.
Then we'll talk
I'm
about
saying
it.
it
You
should
gotta
be-
read it for the people. Now, I'm not gonna argue no more with you. I'm gonna tell you like it is, and we're gonna go by the rule. The first reading is to tell what it is, heading on and usually. And then we can discuss it. To a point, if it gets out of hand, somebody make a motion, we close discussion and move on and vote. Otherwise, we can discuss it all night. And then I'll answer your questions, or if somebody on the board answer your questions. But to table it without reading it or telling anybody what it is,
All right, I see your point.
well,
Continue.
I wish you would, you know, you run for that office, you've been here 6 months now, you need to educate yourself a little bit more, you're president of the board. And you need to educate yourself a little bit about the rules and regulations and what's right and what's wrong.
I have been.
But you take a long time to do it. So this meeting has been out of hand almost all the way because of Jefferson and everything. And all you gotta do is just do it like it should be, read it, or question, answer, do it, take it up, take it down, table it, move on. Okay. Is there a motion for the reading of bill number 978?
I make a motion for reading heading only on 978.
No, second.
Motion made and seconded, roll call.
Roll call for first reading of Bill 978 by heading only. Bill number 978, an ordinance regulating utilities between occupancies and designing when this ordinance takes effect.
Any questions?
Yes.
Have it.
Okay, section 3, law enforcement and or the building inspector have the right to inspect the property between occupancy permits for ordinance compliance.
Yep.
So, one, the question that gets raised is, for law enforcement to enter a property, they need to have a warrant, is that?
Which I'm happy to get.
But that's not stipulated here.
It's in our other orders, it does state that we have administrative authority power to get administrative warrant in our premises at any time.
Okay, next question, section 4, I feel that, again, this is an issue where fines were created by you two because none of the aldermen discussed it with each other. And
I don't know what the aldermen have discussed with each other, and neither do you. Do
Well,
you?
let's ask them.
Do you know?
Did you discuss this with any other alderman? Ron? No.
Did you discuss it with yourself?
Our ordinance has been written up before, and this is the copy of the ordinance.
But this one is a new one.
Correct, that's what we discussed.
And so what
You
I'm
think
getting
all
is
do
no
it?
one discussed
You
it.
think all do it?
No, section 4 I took from like,
The
this is like our standard from like all our ordinance.
This is from our ordinance, and some of it added in here to comply with what we got.
Right.
If you're so interested in it, why don't you do something? Call a work session. You're the board president.
Because I just found out about this 2 days ago when I picked it up in the packet.
You didn't
There
get
was
me-
no opportunity.
He sent you an email.
I sent you an email last week with what these ordinances are. I sent you, Carl, and Annette, all. these
You
ordinances
stipulated that you come in 2 days before a meeting and the information that
We say it's here on the ballot, but he told you just last one, at the meeting that he was gonna email them to you. He told you that he was gonna be emailing them to you, and Ronnie, he comes in and gets this package. You had, if you go check your email, it's on there.
Well, I
It's
said I
several
printed these
days.
out this morning.
I'm sure he didn't just delete you.
And no, I wasn't deleted, they were attached to there. The other component of section 4 is you could get arrested for failure to compliance. The way this is written also, it says, no water can be used for cooking or personal hygiene. Legally, personal hygiene includes washing your hands after you go to the bathroom.
Well, if that's the way we wanna get technical about it, we probably could, but I don't think we would. We let you buy with murder up there. You was living in the damn thing, and you know you wasn't supposed to. You wanna know why your hot sewer wasn't operating on, because it wasn't supposed to be on.
While this.
Now, you want to dot the i's and cross the t's, this is not a Philadelphia lawyer city, and where everything's done, you gotta use common sense.
That's why you've written it out, so that it is legal.
Well, I got more to say about it, you say what you want, get the dress
You
and
know,
order,
so,
anything you want. I'm
For
sorry.
that reason, that's
I'm
why
sorry.
we made a motion to table.
I don't care what you do, it's up to the board, they run the meeting, I just chair it. If they wanna listen some more, they can be done, they make a motion that we move on, or what they wanna do, or anybody out here got anything to
The
say?
motion on the floor was I made a motion to table.
You never got a second, is there a second? Alright, now, motion on the floor to second reading.
Make a motion for second reading of bill number 978, heading only.
Motion made and second, roll call.
All right, roll call for second reading of Bill 978. Alderman Ron Barnett. Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduda.
Aye.
Alderman Hacker.
Aye.
All right, second reading of Bill 978, heading only. Bill number 978, an ordinance regulating utilities between occupancies and designating when this ordinance takes effect.
Motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt 978.
All right, roll call for adoption of Bill 978.
We ain't questions anymore. Go ahead.
Alderman Ron Barnett. Alderman Carl Schultz.
Aye.
Alderman Dr. Zenduda.
Nay.
Alderman Hacker.
Aye.
Motion passed 3-1.
Okay. The firehouse extension is on hold, it's still gonna go on. We're working on a couple of things before we do, but it's still gonna go on. One way or the other, either the chamber's gonna do it, or Grant's gonna do it, or something, it's still, it's gonna happen, it's just got a little delay. So right now, we're working on a grant, but irregardless, it will be done sometime, I would say, this year. Okay, you got the library calibration.
I got an email, the library set up the Wi-Fi, so it's up and running now, and there's no password required, you know. He wants to know if we want to have any type of presence from the library here in St. Mary's. They list 3 different proposals. First one's, you know, would like have staff come down once a week. The second one's just basically having donated books, and people can come check them out, return them, you know, and that's the easiest one on their part. Or the third one would be like a pop-up library done every once in a while, where staff would come down and do like drives to get people's library cards registered and things like that. So he just wants to know if there's any interest at all. The second one would just be having like a shelf with donated books, that'd be the easiest one, but they're just throwing it out there, so I told them I'd ask them if they wanted any further motion on, or movement on this.
I'd like to see if any of the citizens have got any input on it, would like to see it,
I think it's
or make it worthwhile. I mean, I don't think it'd be a big answer myself, there might be, but I would like to know before they say yea or nay, but this is just, you know, this is a business office, it can't be a public library too.
Right.
But they can pick up books and things, I mean, if we had it set up and got room,
Yeah, they just probably like set a little shelf somewhere and have the books, and people come and check them out, so.
but I don't, has anyone, Alderman got anything to say on it?
I'd be willing to donate shelves, and some books. To go
I
as
don't
well.
think shelves would be a problem, but even shelves would be, I mean, I don't know where you put it, how big they want to get,
Let me
or
know
how
how
much
much,
it.
let me know how
But
much
I
space
can
you
tell
have
you,
to allocate to
if
it.
it don't go over, then it's not gonna sit here for 2 years and do nothing. Yeah, I mean, if they wanna try it and it goes, fine, but then, you know, if they hired that we're here, he's here on Mondays, and the rest of the week it's open. It's open 5 days a week normally. From 9 to 5, 9 to 3.
Yeah.
9 to 3.
8 to 3 for
8
me.
to 3.
When they had that going with the post office when it was down the street, I mean, it was always nice to see, I got.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with kids being access to books and reading and everything. I wish they would do more of it and get off in them things, but, well, I don't have a problem trying it, but not sure that in the papers or something that was mentioned last month in the paper or anything that we was working on this project.
The library, sir?
Yeah.
No, this just came about, I just got.
Yeah, but we put up the sign and everything last month.
Oh,
We knew it was
the
coming.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi, and we talked about the library
They've been
too.
working on Wi-Fi for 6
But
months.
I thought we discussed the library too this recently.
No, this just came.
Maybe me and you
The
discussed.
problem is, because.
I don't have a problem with it, don't get me wrong.
With the sign up, that's when he approached me on this, and I'm on their board, I'll be there Monday to tell them what we wanna do.
But what I'm trying to say is, they can come and get them and take them, but we can't be set up on to read them and do everything here. This is a business office. and they have
Right, yeah, it's just a drop-off pickup thing, yeah.
If we set up a place where people come and check them out, and take them home and bring them back, I have no problem, but it can't be used as a library per se. We sit and read and do and congregate and do things, this is a business office, can't do that. But right now, I don't even have a problem. Board do what they want to with that,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think we should.
but it'll come out in the paper this week, we discussed it, and if me and the citizens got some input or some feelings on it, feel free to call the alderman, or the mayor, or the clerk, city clerk, anybody, and let them know how they feel on it. We'd be glad to take everything into consideration, but I don't think the board's gonna object to doing
No,
that.
that's a good idea.
Okay. That's the consensus.
Okay? Al? So you got on that?
Yeah, I'm good there.
Emergency management, well, that's you again. You talking all night.
Biden just signed the 1.9 trillion relief act stimulus. Supposedly, there's a whole bunch of money there for municipalities. I'll believe it when I see it.
Good luck on little community.
I know, and I don't know what kind of strings are attached. Is this money just for buying masks, or can we just do what we want with it? MML's like just trying to find out this for it, so when I get more updates on amounts and rules, I'll put you guys on.
Apply for any and all they got.
Oh, yeah, there's a list. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I do too. That it?
Yeah.
Police department,
I don't have much to report.
good. You don't have that? Oh, I thought they didn't have much. Okay. Fire department,
Frankie?
We had 3 mutual aid calls, 1 for Ozor, 2% gin, and the new pumper, we got it up and running, it pumps really good. Had to replace a water valve on it that was leaking. It's basically a bypass valve, wasn't much. Turn around and we're gonna get ready to get some bids on decals for it, and hopefully in the near future here we're gonna have it up and in service. The other thing is we received our water gauge for 51, which that's gonna be in the process of getting mounted on too. We gained 2 new firemen. And the other thing is I'm trying to work on some, hopefully, grants to get this year, so I've been doing a lot of research on them this year. That's all I got to report.
street,
I don't know nothing to say.
huh?
Unless Ronnie has something.
Yeah, I see you've got the coal, not coal patch now, but you filled in the holes. That's gonna be another thing coming up, is get some coal patch these roads
We
out.
need to stay on the phone, they should be making some somewhere pretty soon.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we wait till after winter months to get started on that, and that's what we need to order that day, and get that going. But that's all I got, street department right now.
What about the water department, you just left? You know anything?
Not too much.
We had some issues with mine.
Yeah, we have, one of our rotors are completely down, bearings blew out in it. Don't know exactly how much it's gonna cost us yet. We called somebody in to look at it, they'll have bring a boom truck in, put new bearings in on both sides. Then the other side, we'll probably have to replace those too. We had a clog up here on 7th and Pine. We finally got that opened up. and that should be good to go. Other than that, there ain't nothing really too much to talk about.
And to add to that, we had to locate and find and clean several shut-off valves, identify them and mark them. And that's gonna be a process which means you're gonna be working on, you're aware of it too.
Yeah.
Or you could do this if you want to, if you got something to say on it. But we're gonna start making sure that when we go to an intersection, we know what that and it works. Because it's time consuming, when you got water shooting or sewer shooting up and you don't know how to shut it off. And we got valves that don't work, it's system's old. And we're gonna try to identify every valve, water and sewer that don't work, and try to see if there's a grant available that we can fix all that, because that's several $1,000s. Them expensive to dig up and fix and replace and put back. But the guys did a good job on that up there this week, that ice. That was hard on them. They spent many a cold night up there breaking that ice up for our sewer system. If it ever completely stopped, it was gone. You was in on it, you know what I'm talking about. And they went above and beyond sometimes. I mean, you say, well, they get paid, but sometimes you don't get paid for what you have to do when you stand up there breaking that ice. You get paid, but not enough. But I thought they did a good job. Art?
Just one thing, you mentioned cat control and stuff, so I contacted Dogwood Veterinary Hospital and the Humane Society of Cape, and their policy, I guess they don't euthanize them, but what they do is.
What?
I spoke with, the Humane Society in Cape Girardeau and Dogwood Veterinary Hospital is my vet, and they told me that they're not really euthanizing cats, but what they're doing is like a sterilization program, but you have to trap them. Usually you gotta have a hard trap with some mackerel in there, catch them, and then you take them. They'll do it for not too many, but they'll do it for $25 a pop. They'll sterilize the cat, notch its ears so you know which one's been handled, and that way you're not killing them, but at least they're not breeding, and they're just killing birds
Who's
till.
gonna pick them up and pay $25?
Well, it came up
You
as an
you
issue,
could go
so.
bankrupt doing that in this town right now.
I know, but anyway, that's the work that I've done on that so far.
There's a lot of cats out there right now, more worse I've seen in years and years, they're just everywhere. I got one in my back door, front door this morning, I guess he wasn't in, but he left, and that and a big black dog. Big dog on there. But cats are everywhere, every time I look out, I see a cat coming and going.
They're a lot better than what they used to be when the MFA was here, they was lousy, chasing mice over there.
But I don't know anybody that's gonna come pay $25 out of their pocket to take a cat down and get it spayed or whatever it is, and then they come back and turn it back and loose on the street, because, I mean, that's not a very good option. Because nobody's gonna claim that cat, I guarantee you.
Right.
Nobody owns it. Nobody owns it. So if we can't get a humane society to take it, and keep it and do away with it, or adopt it, or something in it, it's a waste of time to even consider.
Well, I've done some of the groundwork on it. So.
But yeah, that's fine. And for your information, I'm sorry I didn't get with you. But I just found out, I guess the city knew it, somebody did it, about the Easter egg hunt in the park. I guess I knew it, but I didn't know it. But I just found out, well, we had a provision down there falling down and the building falling down. So we got together, went there and tore the old pavilion down, and we got a guy that said he would tear it down for a part. Ronnie helped them, and Marshall helped them, and the chief police, and several people. I got a quick alarm, I got a good excuse. But they got it down, got the dugout worn down, I don't know what down there.
Before it rained,
Yeah. But we didn't want to do it before the rain set in, because next weekend or so, go ahead.
27th, I think, is when that's reserved.
Okay.
Okay, and me and Cody went down today to hook the water back up in the restrooms. But the restroom, I think it's the men's restroom, when I went to flush it, the flusher isn't working right on the one restroom. The other one's working fine, but the second, I guess you would call it the man's bathroom, when you go to flush it, it wants to spray up. Now, we just had that toilet, replaced, yeah.
2 years ago.
We had Shoe come down and do it, and nobody's been in there as far as I know to vandalize it, because we keep it locked up, but, and it's high pressure, so it's, I can't do anything with it being a high pressure toilet, but we still have the one toilet they could use, is what I'm trying to get at, but.
But this was a spur of the moment, we had a guy willing to do it, so we let him do it.
Good.
It didn't cost us nothing, the tin, old and rusty, but it was good on the bottom side, he get some use out of it. But he not only did, and they all helped him, and he hauled it off, I guess it's all hauled off, I didn't make it up for today.
Yeah, the main stuff is all up, there's one half of the pavilion left, and everything's pretty much refurbished, so.
Eventually, we're gonna go in there and tear that old other building, I guess, is what you call it, concession stand is what it was at one time. Because it's bad shape, it's a wall buckling on it, but that, it's so hard to mow around that. And as far as I'm concerned, in the near future, we need to take the fence down and everything, there's gonna be no more ballpark. There may be a soccer field or something someday, because everybody's revolving the soccer, you just don't see nobody wanting to come down and play baseball. There ain't been a baseball game down there. We refurnished it some years ago, and then you remember that. And that was used. They made for us games, they just don't happen no more. But they might be some soccer things this year, one of these days. The ground's gonna be there, you know. It don't take much to make a soccer field, just turf it off and put a couple goals. But I'm inclined, unless the board's got a problem, to go ahead, I'm thinking about, wanting to take the fence down around the ball field and the fence down around the, tennis court, because they don't play tennis there, it's not fit for it. You break your ankle if you try, but it could be used for skateboards or a few things, but the fence is just in the way for everything.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't keep the basketball from being played if we want to play it, they have to stay down. But with the board don't have an injunction, we're probably going to do all that. Tear the fence down, road up, put the sidestone wood, but, and take the fence down around the tennis court. And then people go up there, of course, it's still like little scooters and skateboards and things, they could do it a lot better without a fence. Anybody have a problem with that? I mean, it's a decision we can make, I mean, the other was, we did because we were afraid some kids would get hurt, because that building was falling, that roof, that pavilion was falling down, it was dangerous. But that's why we did that. That was, from the time that I found out about that they were gonna have it, and within a few hours, we were down there trying to see what we need. Marshall was there, and he knew somebody that would take it. I keep calling him Marshall, the chief of police. But he knew somebody would probably take it. Well, everybody knows, and Jeff was that. He'd take anything. But he did a good job. He worked good.
He did it down quick.
And he had a community service up there.
Yeah, so, I mean, that worked out. And Jeff was just in the rain today, finishing up getting nails if there was any, and remnants, so.
Okay? I think citizen participation is next. Okay. Anybody want to talk? Give your name, where you live, and say what you want. Step up here where the board can see you.
Frank Gerardo, 497 Immaculate Conception Drive. I have a question. When you had added this March of the following year, is that for the year 2020?
Well, your taxes are due December 31st. So that would be, in this case, it would be 2020. Because right now they're over here. Yours ain't, because you come and got that copy of that and paid yours. But you're not on this list. But we'll be going, some of these are 5 years old. I got a list of here, everybody. It's a public record.
I don't have a problem with people that are more than 2 years behind. But people for 2020, the state provides a list of the late charges for each month throughout the year. And I know previously in this office where they had court, one person had a lawyer, when they talked about the court fines and court costs, he said, no, the state has a list of the late charges, and he wasn't charged late charges, but everybody else that didn't have representation paid the late charges. That's against Missouri state statutes. It's against their rules. They say this much late for each month. They don't say, we're gonna let the city decide what they wanna do and charge you that. It's just not right. Most people wait till they get their tax return in April to pay it. And all of a sudden, you're saying, oh, this is due in January, or December 31st, or whatever.
Taxes are due December the 31st every year, and this thing here says as of March, if you hadn't paid them, we're gonna shut your water off. We'll give you 3 more months, January, February, and March, end of March. Now, do you think you shouldn't pay your taxes?
I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the people for 2020.
That's what we're talking about right now.
They shouldn't be included in this.
Why? We're gonna give them, right now, if that ordinance passed, we're gonna send them a letter and give them a chance to pay the taxes, because we get past it. Next year, we don't send you nothing, it would, you know it's there, it's in the ordinance, it's law, and it's just got an answer. So we give people a chance to give them a month to pay the taxes. We ain't gonna go quiet tomorrow and shut people off. But this ordinance is in effect, and we're gonna start enforcing it, and we're gonna simply the ones that, I don't even know it.
It's the
and
state
give
of
them time to
Missouri's
pay.
rule.
Yeah.
For 2020, they have the late charges for each month throughout to the end of the year. After
I
that,
don't give a damn about rate charges or nothing.
that's the
What I'm
state's
telling
rule.
you is, if you don't pay your taxes every year when they're due, in 3 months, you ain't gonna give it 2 late charges, because you're gonna get your water shut off.
It's the state's rule.
Well, then you get you a lawyer and you make this unconstitutional. Because as far as I know, cities that's done it, several cities,
It's not up to me,
It's
it's
in
the
effect.
state's rule. I didn't make it up, it's their rule.
well,
And I'm glad that you're sending notices to people because, you know.
we're not gonna do it every year. We're gonna do it this year because we get elected.
It's in the ordinance.
Yeah. But we're gonna send them one this year to let them know that the ordinance is in effect. And we're gonna give them, I guess, about 30 days, because people get the chance to make arrangements, do what they want. But they ain't a hell of a lot of people, but we got $6,000 or $7,000 out there right now late that we need. We need every dollar we can get. And people need to pay the taxes. Undoubtedly, you think we can because you come and got the ordinance and come back 2 days later and pay your taxes. And that's public record. I ain't saying nothing on here that I don't have to, it's public record. And I know, Kickham got one, but she paid her taxes anyhow. She ain't late on her taxes. Maria. But she come and got it, I'm sure she's concerned for people she knows.
I'm
And people she
concerned.
knows, she's concerned.
I'm concerned because a lot of people that are on a set income, and how difficult it was for me before I had it under my escrow account, that to come up with $400 for the state, for the county, and $100 for you. It was really difficult with 3 kids and not being able to make a payment. You put 20 aside, and then you get right back into the 20.
He got the board right now, and then I'll let you talk.
Well, in St. Genevieve County, when you go in to pay your tax, when you go in to get your license for your vehicle renewed, they say you have to show them your property receipt taxes for St. Genevieve County. If they say, oh, you live in St. Mary, do you have your St. Mary city tax receipt? Well, we can't give it to you, we can't give you your license plates until you get it paid. That'd be the perfect way to do it.
That's right.
But you're going around.
And if you don't, you can't get your city stickers, you can't get your license, you can't do anything.
Well,
You gotta pay your taxes like everybody else.
I'm just saying that if the county were to mention that, oh, you're in the city of St. Mary, do you have your city taxes paid? Can you show me the receipt?
Can I show you a receipt?
No, I'm saying that's what they could ask you.
Say
They
the
go
same,
renew your
that
plates.
the county should be asking,
Yeah.
if they have their St. Mary personal property tax paid whenever you go
They're
get your
supposed to have
license.
all taxes paid. I don't know
They
about
don't
Yeah.
ask you
But
whenever.
they know, the county don't. But if you can't get a city sticker for your car till your
Right.
St. Mary taxes are paid. And if you don't get a city sticker, you can get a ticket. But that don't work all the time, so now you're gonna get your water shut off. You cannot buy a city, now you're required to have a city sticker on your car. I don't know if you do or you don't. But if you bought one, you could have now, because you paid your taxes. But a week ago, you couldn't buy a city sticker here when you'd be in violation. It's part of the rule. That's why that St. Mary's adopted a city sticker to start with, to get the taxes paid. But that don't work. Some of these people don't have vehicles. They don't give a damn. These people got vehicles, they'll pay up more quicker than one. But you were talking about, you've had your 3 minutes. You talk about people in poverty and poor. By God, if you don't think this city ain't poverty and poor, come up here and look at the bills. You know, we're desperate too, and this is our income. This is what we depend on to keep the water on, the streets working, the city working. And if we don't get our income, then we can't operate.
Well, if we turn off the water, we just shoot ourselves in the foot, because if they
That's what it takes to
so
get it done.
who's gonna pay the water though? If they
The
turn
city
the
of
water
Warren-
back on,
The
if they
city
don't
of
turn the
Warren
water
passed
back
this
on,
ordinance,
if they
and
don't,
they got $40,000 worth of back taxes in 1 month.
I understand
And
that.
people could pay it.
If they don't pay it, then they don't have the water on, and how long will they go without the water off? After that, who is gonna pay for the water if it isn't the ones that did pay their taxes and the ones that are gonna get the water bill? The water bill has to be paid. You know, we have to pay the water bill, the city has to pay the water bill. If the water bill has to pay, if the St. Mary's has to pay the water bill, and we don't have enough people paying their water bill, then it falls back on the people that do pay the water bill and do have their taxes paid. So we'd have no choice but to up the water to make up the difference. To up the bill to make up the difference, because it's hard for people to come up with that. If you could give them the payment for 2020 and then allow them to make a payment on what they owe every month, that would be better than to have it shut off and then they'll move out of town. If they move out of town, our water has to go up because we gotta make up the difference. Like shooting yourself in the
We're
foot.
getting ready to do that too, if some things don't change.
Yeah, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot if they just,
But now, I'm gonna read a couple here, I don't know read names, I could. One's $6.20, now who in the hell you know that one way or the other couldn't come up with $6.20? But if you get 100 people doing that, that's a lot of money for the city. And we got dozens of them in here that's $10, $15, that don't mean a whole lot. But when you get all the, we got 3 pages of people here that pay. Some of them are 5 years old.
Yeah.
Now, not paying is not paying. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Some of these should have been done to court.
Yeah, but again, we go back to when you go renew your license, you need to prove that you paid your St. Genevieve County taxes. Well, when you renew your license, at that point, they should say, do you have City of St. Mary's taxes paid and the county paid? That would stop it right there. They wouldn't be able to get it if all they had was the county and not the city.
Yeah, some people don't own cars.
Yeah, there's some people that don't
A
even.
lot of people don't own cars. I know people that never drove a car in their lives in this town, you know.
And I know a lot of them that are on the city.
Everything else has been tried, it don't work, so we got all it. But you turn the water over, it'll start working. It works on it. He worked with it, passed this ordinance.
Well, I
In the
hope
first month, they got $40,000
the
worth of.
population is very small here. I think people will move out.
Well, that population's.
Well, we got people wanting houses here, maybe some move out, we get some better deals.
There's no housing in St. Genevieve, so that's why. They won't last long here.
Okay. Anybody, didn't you have your hand up, oh, Jody? Or were you just holding the camera while ago?
Oh, I'll just hold myself up.
Okay, I thought you wrapped up.
No, I'll go like this if
You're
I.
holding the wall, okay. Anybody else got anything to say, or anybody that said something, want to say some more? Doc, anybody, go ahead.
Yeah, I got those trees in, the cypress trees, so they can start planting. And then also regarding, you mentioned tearing down stuff and soccer fields at that park, I'd be willing, because this is the time of year to do it, because it'll be raining a lot, the ground will be wet. But if you want to do like a nice nicely landscaped border around the park or something like that. You know, working with you guys, you know, regarding mowing there too, it's, you know, an option if you wanna pursue it.
When we get through with tearing out, then we'll be looking at putting back.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna try to get, mowing costs us a lot every year. And if you get, where you can do without the weed eater more and more and more, the cheaper and cheaper it is. And there's no sense of having a ballpark there, they just don't get played.
Right.
And there's no indication it's ever gonna be. But I could see in the future, it could be with these kids and things around, could be some soccer field, you could put
Soccer
soccer
field,
fields in. And that don't take a whole lot of doing, all you got is grass and no fence, and you just make chalk lines going, out of the line. The goal, that's all. Has anybody else got anything to say?
Just one other thing, that rope hanging down there by the pavilions down there, 3/4 inch rope hanging from the top tree running down. Looked like a choking hazard to me, looked like somebody needs.
I think a lot of kids swing on it over the years, but it may be different now.
Get wrapped
They
around
used
their
to have
neck
a
and
tie
swing.
or something.
I'm just saying, don't look very safe.
It's probably been there long enough, for me to come down in, now, it should be dangerous.
Well, I'm afraid of, yeah, somebody get hurt.
We'll look at that. Anything else? Motion made to go on,
Make a motion to
wherever
close
you
meeting.
please.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?